Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm really excited about this video because it's about one of my all-time favorite products, and that is Lanolin. For a while now, I've been trying to convince my husband, who has chronically dry lips, to try this out, but he's been stubborn and has refused to do it. However, this past winter, they got to the point where they were just painful and he needed to try something new, so I finally convinced him to try it out. And he was so impressed after one single use that he went ahead and decided he needed to get another form because he wasn't really quite happy about having to apply with his finger. So he went and ordered these two different ones on Amazon. And then to round it out, I had heard about a more cosmetic formula. This one's by Lanolips that I want to test out. So as a new mom, I was looking for something that will help in breastfeeding. Lanolin, this one by Lansinoh, is created for breastfeeding mothers to help with the soreness and crackness of nipples from breastfeeding. And I was reading the packages, and it said on here that after applying it, you don't need to wash it off before feeding your baby. So little things snapped inside my head saying, if it's safe enough to go into a baby's mouth, why isn't it safe enough for my own mouth? And I started using it on my lips, and it changed my world. I've used it since my first child was born, more than 10 years ago, every single night on my lips, and my lips have been so happy since then. I use it on my cuticles. If I have any kind of sores, like any kind of paper cuts, this goes on my paper cuts. Lanolin is an oil that comes from wool-bearing animals, mainly sheep. So no, it is not a vegan product. No animals are harmed in collecting it. Most lanolin that is used in cosmetic grade products comes from animals that are raised specifically for their wool. In the shearing process, the lanolin is gathered and made into these ointments. It is waterproofing but still breathable, which is what makes it so great for skin treatments. So it creates an emollient effect on the skin that keeps hydration, adds hydration, and stops hydration from being lost, all while at the same time allowing the skin to breathe and move and not cause any kind of bacteria to form in there. One of the reasons my husband was so nervous about trying this is because in the past he had used something called Carmex and had an allergic reaction to it. Carmex is known for having one of its ingredients being lanolin, and people mistakenly think that if they're having a reaction to the Carmex, they're having a reaction to the lanolin, because of a study that was done in the early 50s about lanolin causing allergic reactions with people, but that was completely taken out of its context. And since then, lanolin has been processed and used in a much different, healthier, safer way. The reaction that he was most likely, and most people are having, to Carmex is the first two ingredients on there, which are camphor and menthol, which can be very damaging actually to the skin. This is again the Lansinoh, which is created specifically for the treat in sore, cracked nipples. It is completely odorless. It has no added colors to it. So this one here is by Lanolips, and it is a more cosmetic grade product. It has added fragrance to it. They do have ones that have a bit of a tinge of color to them. However, my store didn't have any. This was the only one they had. But it does have the fragrance. It's strawberry, but it's a natural fragrance. It's got a little applicator that you can just put it on directly like that. It looks almost exactly the same as this, but it does has a really faint strawberry scent, which is kind of nice. So this one is by LaniCare, and it has lanolin as well as carnauba wax in it. The only thing that carnauba wax is doing in this is supposed to be giving it the structure that can be made into a solid. It's not really doing anything else besides that. It looks pretty much the same. No scent. Ooh, it's really sticky. Just trying to get it onto my hand. It's a bit sticky and waxy feeling. And then this one is the Australian Gold Pharmaceutical grade, and this is just strictly lanolin in here. This one looks pretty much exactly the same, though it is a bit more of a clearer color. Let's see. And it's going on a little bit more smoothly, a little bit less like tacky and waxy like. I think I kind of want to try out this one first, just because I'm kind of curious about it, because it's more of a cosmetic product. Day 2, this one is the LaniCare, and this is one that has carnauba wax in it as well. Next up is another solid formula for the lanolin, and this is by the Australian Gold Pharmaceutical grade. The one that started all for me, the Lansinoh HPA Lanolin Nipple Cream, my all-time favorite. Time to wrap wrap up on our Lanolin lip products. I have here a handy dandy little chart that I know you cannot read, but it just helps me keep things organized. I have along the side here the list of all 4 of the products that I tried, and then across the top the price, volume, and location where I got it from, then how it applies, how it wears through the daytime, through the nighttime, and its general feel. First one up is the Lanolips. It is $15.95 for 0.42 ounces. I got it at Ulta, or you can get it directly from the website. They also have a tinted one that has a little bit of color to it, but that one is the same volume for only $13.50. This does have a little bit of a scent to it. The way it applies is through the tube. You can apply it just like this. I find that you still do need a little bit of a finger application to help spread it out. This is how I tested them throughout the day. I wore them, all of these, in the same way. I wore them to the gym, to eat with, drink with, and then I wore them with some lipstick. This one wore really well during the gym. It stayed on throughout my entire workout. And towards the end of the gym session, it was not as thick, but it was still on there. I ate and it stayed on. However, with all of these, I found that when you're eating, you might actually want to wipe it off a bit. Your food kind of gets stuck to your lips. Drinking, no problem. It did leave some residue along the edges of the cup, like any lipstick will, but it stayed on. And then with the lipstick underneath it, it worked really well. I'm actually going to demonstrate that right now because I need a little something on my lips. All these did is that they gave your lipstick a really kind of like a nice glossy look, but it actually kept your lipstick on longer because these are waterproof and long lasting. Whatever you had on underneath it stayed as long as it stayed on. Put it on a little bit thicker during the nighttime, and it stayed the entire night. I woke up in the morning and most of it had wiped off while I was sleeping, but I could still feel some on my lips. How it feels is pretty smooth, but a little bit of a thickness. I can definitely feel that it is on my lips. It has a very mild scent that I'm only aware of when I first put it on. Within 5 minutes, the scent is gone. It does have a nice little bit of glossy, but not like a high lacquer shine glossiness. The only 2 problems I have with this is that if it's cold, because it's in a liquid squeezy tube formula, that when it's cold, it gets a bit hard, it kind of freezes, and you kind of have to squeeze it hard to get it out. And the other thing that I found is it kind of left a little bit of a white residue, like a pilling, when I didn't have any lipstick on. On the inside corners of my lip, it kind of like gathered there and just had a little bit of a white cast. I could just easily dab that away without disturbing whatever product I had on, and that was gone, but it did leave that little bit of a white tinge. Next one is by Solid Blend, the LaniCare. It is $10.99 for 3 tubes, which comes to about $3.60 each for 1.5 ounces. However, this is currently out of stock on Amazon. It applies like any regular old chapstick, but because it's very thick, you do kind of need a finger to spread it out a bit. It was a bit hard to apply. Wore it to the gym, stayed on throughout my entire workout, ate with it. This one, because it's so like thick and tacky, was the one that I definitely had to wipe off to be able to eat because everything was just getting stuck, and I kind of felt it was just hard to eat with this on. Drinking, it did leave quite a bit of residue in my glass because it's just so thick. And it did not wear well with the lipstick, I think because it was such a thick, tacky texture. I really wasn't very fond of this one. At nighttime, however, I was really expecting, because it was so thick, for it to last the whole night, but it didn't. When it wiped off while I was sleeping, it wiped all of it off. It wasn't as comfortable. When I woke up in the morning, my lips did feel dry. The feel, again, it is very thick, tacky, almost kind of like a waxy feel to it. This was one of the only ones that had an extra added ingredient. It has carnauba wax in it, which might be what's adding to that texture. I was very aware of it being on my lips at all time. I really wasn't very pleased with this. It also left the white residue on the inside of my lips a bit more pronounced than the Lanolip one did. However, on Amazon, this still did receive 4.5 stars. I just wasn't a huge fan of it. Next up is the Pure Lanolin Lip Balm by Australian Gold, pharmaceutical grade. It was $9.80 for 4 tubes, which comes out to about $2.45 each, and you get 0.20 ounces. And I found this on Amazon, and they did have this in stock. Applies like a chapstick would, and it is a really great texture, so you do not need your finger to blend it in. It applies really smoothly and easy. I like this one a lot. Went through the gym test, stayed on for my entire gym. This is one of the few ones I did not feel the need to wipe off while I was eating because it had a bit of a thinner texture. It wasn't as tacky and it was fine. Same thing with drinking, didn't leave as much of a residue, still some residue on my cup, but it was fine. And it worked really, really nicely with lipstick, again, because it has a much thinner texture. Because this had such a thin texture, I thought for sure in the morning my lips would be dry and uncomfortable, but it wasn't. This was all wiped off, like there was no residue left on my lips when I woke up in the morning. However, my lips felt still hydrated. They maintained their moisture. I wasn't in any way dry or uncomfortable. The feel of this, it's very smooth, it's thin, very, very comfortable, and it gives a light little bit of a shine, a little bit of glossy, not lacquer looking, but really comfortable. And on Amazon, it also had a 4.5 star rating. But this so far was one of my favorite ones. And then finally, the one that started it all for me is the Lansinoh. This one is marketed as a nipple cream. So this was available at several locations. So I wrote them all down, and there's plenty more where you can find them as well. On Amazon, you can only at this time get it in a set of 2, and it's considered an add-on purchase. But for 2 of these tubes, which is 1.41 ounces on all locations, was $19.99. Then at Walmart, where I got this particular tube, was only $9.48. At Babies R Us, it was $9.99, but I know you can get it pretty much at any store that sells any kind of baby product. You can find it everywhere. The way you apply this is you have to put it on your finger. It went through the gym test, through my eating test. I need to wipe it off a little bit to eat with, but not as much as some of the other ones. Wears really well with lipstick as well. This one is also, I found, to be the most multi-purposeful of it because you get so much of it. I mean, this is a huge tube, and this tube does last a long time. I find that one of these tubes lasts me between 6 to 8 months. It does stay on all night. I put it on before I go to bed, and I wake up and it is still there. The feel is, it's smooth, and because you have really a lot of control of how you apply it, it's not too thick. If you wanted, you can apply it more thickly, but it melts into your skin really well, so it's not thick at all. It feels comfortable. Out of all of these, when I applied it, it was the longest lasting. So yes, they all went through, you know, my test for the gym, eating and everything like that, and they all stayed on, but this one stayed longer than all of them combined. In conclusion, if I had to go back and buy any one of these again, I love this guy. I feel that you get your biggest bang for the buck based on volume and the different types of ways that you can use this one. Other than that, I was really impressed with this chapstick Formula 1. It went on feeling really smooth and easy to use. This one, the one by LaniCare that is by Solid Blend, I don't think I'm ever going to be using this again. This one is great to use if I'm going out because I can just throw it in my purse or my pocket. I wouldn't feel comfortable putting this in my pocket because I kind of feel like if you put too much body heat on it, it's going to melt and just turn into a mess. But because the way this is housed and packaged, it's not going to melt and make a mess like that. So if you guys have any questions or comments, please leave them below. You know you'll definitely hear back from me. Thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a big thumbs up, share, subscribe, check me out on Instagram, and I hope you have a great day. Bye!